Why be a thinker? Why care about thinking? Well, I've written a list of 8 reasons why you should be a thinker, why you should care about thinking, and why you should strive to think better than you currently do. What I mean by thinking, in a technical sense, is using your mental faculties to focus on and to pay heightened attention to a subject and its related parts, and to consider alternative views, to reflect and analyze, commit facts to memory, and other cognitive activities that go beyond a cursory, automatic, instinctive reaction or non-reaction to ideas and things. In short, a thinker is someone who stops and thinks. So here are the 8 reasons I've come up with. The first reason you should think is to learn. Allow the idea in and connect it to what you already know. For many years, I've had the experience of teaching elementary age kids a simple lesson or fact, and then following up with a comprehension check or asking for feedback, and the kid says, "Oh, I forgot," or "I don't know," or "I can't think." But what he really means is, I wasn't paying attention, and I don't feel like thinking. Well, I say, you can't learn without thinking. Thinking is the active cognitive process that allows learning to take place. I wouldn't say that to a little kid exactly, but I would say you have to pay attention. Focus. I'd like to say, listen, kid, here's how it works. Let's find something you already know, and you focus real hard and hold it there in your mind, and we'll connect a new thing to it. We'll add stone to stone and brick to brick and build a beautiful temple of knowledge. And all you have to do, kid, is to stop, pay attention, focus on the subject, and let your brain take care of the rest. Plus, it would be really helpful if you were naturally curious and actually wanted to learn something. Why should the kid learn? Well, what's the goal of learning and thinking? We think and learn in order to gain a clearer, higher resolution, deeper dimension picture of the world that we are able to articulate to each other. Thinking and intelligence are considered synonymous, but in some sense, smart people and dumb people are always thinking. So they're not exactly the same thing. The difference is in what you think about. It's whether you apply effort and expend energy in a more or less orderly, conscious process. So, the first reason you should care about thinking is, it's how you learn. The second reason to think is to not merely be smarter, but to learn wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge gained by experience in many different contexts, with special attention to the realities and the constraints of human life. So wisdom comes with age because it comes with experience, but not merely experience. It comes by thinking about or reflecting on your experience and applying that to new situations. When Elvis sang, "Wise men say, only fools rush in," he meant the wise do not proceed, or they proceed with great caution where they have no knowledge or where they have doubts about their self-control. And they do this because they know the limits of their knowledge and the limits of their self-control. Elvis knew he couldn't stop himself from falling in love, but he rushed in like a fool, and now all he can do is sing about the tragedy because knowledge isn't enough. You have to listen to wisdom. Wisdom teaches how to handle your emotions. And for this reason, hotheads and know-it-alls are usually the least wise, and their many opinions are often not valued by others. Which leads us to reason number 3. You should learn how to think in order to be a reasonable person whose opinion is valued. It's not enough to merely have opinions, because everybody's got one. But the person who, by serious thinking, can back up his opinions is a valued person. Because we all know that a person with well-reasoned opinions probably thinks things through. He has moral clarity, convictions, principles, and this makes him reliable. And it gives him a reputation as a serious person. Not a person without humor, but a person with substance. And reason number 4 is the main reason, I believe, that people need to learn how to think. Number 4, you must learn how to think so that you'll be able to evaluate ideas and ideologies. Why? So that you don't end up being a useful idiot for someone else's ideology and find yourself caught up in a mob shouting slogans. Slogans that you haven't really thought through, or that you haven't put to any serious kind of scrutiny or logical test. Or, in other words, ideas to which you haven't applied any critical thought. People have good ideas, bad ideas, half-baked ideas, well-intentioned but wrong ideas, malicious and deceptive ideas, and on and on and on. And these ideas must be evaluated. What you need is knowledge, the tools of reason, and good habits of thinking in order to analyze, sort, and rank these ideas. Tools of reason is another way of saying logical methods of reasoning. Things like defining terms, having a sense of proportion, understanding cause and effect, and many other basic methods of reasoning that make up, in large part, common sense. Tools of reason should be explicitly taught in school, but I can tell you that they get very little attention, if any. In a nutshell, good analysis of any idea involves at least 3 questions. 3. The first is, can the issue at hand be explained in any other way? Because there are usually alternate explanations. And can you articulate those alternate explanations? Second is, what's the evidence for your conclusions? Can this evidence be verified? And third, what are the costs and consequences involved here? What kind of unintended consequences might there be? So this all gives us yet another reason to study the history of ideas. Because most ideas have been tried before. And people who uncritically accept the latest rendition of bad ideas are susceptible to being swept up in a destructive mob. And a mob doesn't think. It's like a herd of animals acting entirely from excitement and instinct. Which brings us to the 5th reason that you should think and learn to think better. Do it in order to reach your human potential. Thinking about aesthetics, metaphysics, qualia, the things that go beyond material life, are the things that make us more than mere animals. But we are animals nonetheless, and as such, we're governed by all sorts of instincts and built-in tendencies that we're mostly unaware of. I mean tendencies like cognitive bias, ways of thinking quickly to save time and effort, or tendencies like attending only to information most relevant to us, which is, again, thinking with the least effort in order to make subjective sense of things, which is often wrong. So to be fully human, learn to think in order to fulfill your human potential, which leads nicely to reason number 6. The best of all human thoughts are available for you to think. Every thought, every idea recorded in history is available for you to learn. There's a world of fascinating, scintillating, brain-tickling, soul-satisfying ideas that have been thought up long before we were born, and they're available to anyone who wants them, if only he seeks them out. Learning these great thoughts will give you a richer life and make you a more valuable person. Which leads me to reason number 7. Learn to think and to absorb the greatest and most interesting thoughts in order to think new thoughts and invent new things by making new connections. Or, in a word, think in order to innovate. Problem solving is thinking narrowly applied to a specific situation. It's like running scenarios in your head, holding still one possibility after another while seeing how various options fit. Kind of like doing a jigsaw puzzle or trying to make something out of Lego pieces or Tinker Toys. You need at least a willingness to spend time and energy getting things wrong, spurred on by the hope of getting it right. And you need the ability to, hate to use the cliche, think outside the box. Not closing your mind off to unimagined possibilities that come from unimagined sources, from other people, other fields, and other situations. And of course, it helps to have a wide body of personal knowledge and experience to draw from. Thinking to solve problems can become enjoyable for its own sake, like playing with connecting toys or doing puzzles and brain teasers. The more you engage your mind, the more you develop your mental muscles, and the more enjoyable thinking and problem solving becomes. And finally, the 8th reason you should be a thinker, care about thinking, and become a better thinker than you already are, is to find peace, strength, or satisfaction in life by gaining understanding. Understanding. Understanding is the ability to comprehend a situation, while wisdom is the ability to decide what to do in that situation. Understanding is a kind of a solvent. It's a solvent for fears. It's a solvent for the fog of confusion. Understanding is the practice of recognizing things as they are without regard to how you think they should be. And there's at least a moment of peace in accepting things as they are once you understand them, no matter what the consequences or implications, or no matter what your next step might be to act on that understanding. I mean, understanding only for the sake of understanding. You can gain understanding by quiet contemplation, which is another way of saying thinking.